Doctor Who fans across the world, and welcome to another amazing episode of your favourite Doctor Who podcast, Who Corner to Corner. I'm Paul, Jeff's on the Red Bull, and we're here to talk about anything Doctor Who related. Why? Because there's no Doctor Who on the telly, so we've got to talk about something, right, Jeff?
Yeah, an amazing podcast with nothing to talk about.
Oh, Christ on a stick. I'm trying to inject a little bit of energy and excitement and verve because we love Doctor Who. Right?
Actually, I say that. That's not really true. There may not be anything
in the contract,
screen,
mate.
but...
You can't deny it. That's literally in legal print. It's a document that exists between us.
There's other stuff, isn't there?
There's other stuff. What
there is
stuff?
other
yeah,
things.
we could talk about that in our TSV section, couldn't we? Our time-space visualizer.
Yes.
Yes. As you can tell, Jeff is full of enthusiasm. That's a nice
there is
cup,
other
mate.
stuff.
What are you drinking?
Thanks. Look, it says, "Oh, you can't see it." That's I don't know.
What's going on? Daddy. Oh,
Daddy.
that's cute. He's got a little cup with stars on it and the words Daddy. I'm feeling tears coming to my eyes. As you know, I'm not a very emotional person, so I literally don't care. So how excited are you though, Jeff? We got Doctor Who coming at Christmas. Christmas, which is what, 7-8 months away still? Jeff's falling asleep. Come on, go with it. What's going on?
How excited am I?
On a scale of 1 to 17 and a half.
Half.
Oh dear. Oh, this is not good. What can we do to pick you up? Eh? Where's it going wrong for you?
Oh, it is weird, isn't it? I know I've said this before. It's quite strange to like something,
and yet,
in some ways have almost have no interest at the same time. But Doctor Who it's not like other things in many ways because there's the show, there's the books, there's Big Finish,
there's
lots of other things. So Big Finish, there's some great stuff there at the moment. Very excited about that. I'm partway through the most recent 6 Doctor and Perry series with Turlough in. We've got new 13th Doctor audio next week. There's some new Fugitive Doctor stuff coming soon.
So you've got to be excited about that, right?
Circuit Breaker, looking forward to that. So there is stuff, but the actual main thing... I mean, I'm just a stuck record, really, but,
Has it lost its way, do you feel? Has it missed the target? Has it missed its mark?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, and I think, sadly, quite a few other people's, I think RTD blew it.
RTD.
I think he... the great irony of the guy who saved it, and he came back and it didn't work again. I think, Shooty was really good. There was a few sort of issues with his Doctor, lots of crying and stuff, and slightly overdid it. Like we said once before, the fact that it was almost every episode kind of made it not mean anything when it did happen. But I think just overall, apart from a few, admitted gems, most of it just didn't do anything for me.
What were the gems then? Let's focus on them. What did you like?
I swear there was a couple.
You liked Lux, didn't you? I think you liked that.
I did like Lux. I liked The Well. I thought The Well was really good. I thought
I enjoyed
Dot
that
and
one.
Bubble, Joy to the World was pretty good. And I thought most of Series 2 was vastly superior to the first series, except for the finale, 2 episodes. But like someone asked on YouTube recently, would I have felt the same had it been Jodie's Doctor in place? And it's quite an interesting question.
Good question.
And let's say that this had just Jodie had only done those 2 years. I probably would have ended up feeling, she's really good, excellent. But the stories haven't really done it.
So the same as with Shooty in a way then, because you just said you like Shooty.
Although I think if Doctor had been, the same, I would have, connected more. But if we'd had, any of Jodie's series, and then it went into these, I'd have been like, what the hell has happened here? And then I think it would have been, if Matt Smith had been doing them, I would have felt like, yeah, he's
same.
really good. But, the stories aren't up to scratch,
So it really isn't the Doctor, is it? It's
no.
the stories, they didn't hit with you. They didn't land,
No.
basically.
And I was just going to say, and people feel that way about Jodie's era. They're wrong, but that's their prerogative,
Well, a lot of people do feel that way about that era, though, and they still do. I've come across a few on social media who just say, Chibnall stuff, Jodie stuff, whatever, was, or what's the common one, that the series ended with Peter Capaldi or something, some nonsense like that.
I mean, that sort of thing, like, I think that, you're not on stage, mate, stop performing, okay? Because, it didn't end, and
it hasn't. It's still going on. We've still got a Christmas episode at least.
Yeah, and you can pretend otherwise, but saying it ended, with Capaldi's regeneration, is a bit silly, really, because the show is still the show, but it just hasn't quite clicked for you. And I think I didn't particularly like Shooty's era overall. But I didn't go, well, that's it then. I'm just going to discard, 60 years of a show and X number of years of something I've really liked. You don't just stop. And I think that I've got a really good point here, but I can't really quite remember it now. I think that I was talking to someone the other day, and I said it was actually Chris Chibnall who said the show is like one big story, but with different volumes and different volumes.
Yes,
AKA
yes,
Doctors.
that's what you said in our interview, isn't it? Because I said I didn't like the eras thing. It's I just dislike the overuse of that word. So he suggests we refer to it as volumes instead, chapters in one ongoing saga.
Yeah, and I think it's really accurate because you might like the volume and tone of the Sixth Doctor's era more than the Fifth Doctor's era, for example, or volume, and you can liken it to Marvel comics. I really liked the way Brian Michael Bendis volume of Avengers stuff, but I don't like the Jed McKay volume of it. Well, other people will, and it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not for to your taste. And I think the accusation of bad writing is thrown around an awful lot these days in regards to everything. I mean, basically, you think everything that's being produced for TV or Hollywood is badly written these days.
Basically, if I don't like it, the writing's
it's badly written. Yeah,
that's usually the thing, isn't it? Because people in their armchairs know better than the paid professionals. Clearly.
And it sounds more intelligent to say the writing's bad rather than to say...
Because I went to university and studied creative writing, and I've got a 2-1 in it, so I know more about everyone because my tutor gave me some really good marks on my shit.
Quite.
Sorry, that's very dismissive. I've been in uni myself, but there is a kind of mindset that because you're taught a certain structure and a way of doing things, that has to be the way to do it always. But when you're talking about something creative, any kind of art form, really, it's always more than the structure of the thing. True art can't be contained by structure. And okay, there are pleasing compositions. There are compositions and pieces of writing that may have more general appeal because they do form a structure. But just because something breaks it doesn't mean to say it's bad. That's my take on it anyway.
And I think you're right, and I think also stuff. It kind of it can push into a different direction, and you might not like that, like we're saying. So I'm just thinking off the top of my head about music. So I love the massive vast majority of U2 stuff. You prefer the 90s slightly more experimental stuff.
I love the Berlin stuff. Yeah, give me Zoo TV any day over all the other stuff. But I do like their politically charged anthems also. And
then, on the new EP, the last track on it, I Will Praise the Lord, he's a sort of quite experimental, sort of ambient, but I think it's actually a Brian Eno thing. I like it because it's quite experimental. Bono's lyrics are really nice. His voice sounds his voice is gorgeous on it. But when I played it in the car, family they didn't like it.
No.
They like the sort of
turn it off, Jeff. Put the
slightly more
wheels on the
mainstream.
bus on instead.
Yeah, you know, I'm talking about, you know,
Stick
not just
the
the
White
kids.
Album on.
Yeah,
Put Revolver
yeah.
on instead. Come
But,
on,
you know,
Daddy, get with it. We want the Stones.
we want tomorrow never knows. But you know, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it doesn't work for you. You know, and whoever. You know. So I think with the show, I was very disappointed by you know, shooty stuff overall. And you know, I've said before, but you know, I was just going to bang it out again.
Bang it out.
I've been really, I was going to say turned off, but you know, the whole kind of RTD as God thing and the Tennant thing for it, you know, like it really is starting to disappear up its own what's it, you know. There's every week on Twitter at the moment I'm seeing it's been 20 years since this episode with Tennant and 20 years of this, and I think
Nothing wrong with that,
nostalgia,
is there? Surely.
I don't know, I just feel a bit like that you can have too much nostalgia on anything. You know, I really do think nostalgia actually can blind people to, if I was thinking about it the other day, because you know, I've seen people saying, you know, the U2 stuff recently is the best stuff they've done in years, and it absolutely is. But we're talking, in my opinion, about a series of prior albums that were all 5 stars, and now they've cranked it up to 6 stars.
So you think this stuff is better than anything they produce? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's absolutely up there, and the you know, sort of consensus was, you know, it's mad for a band who are 50 years old to be putting out music this good and this great, and I.
But they're talented guys, though.
Yeah, and I do not subscribe to the fact that a band, a singer, a filmmaker, an actor will only produce their best in their early days. I don't agree with that, and I think nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses, which I suppose are one and the same, often blind people. You know, oh, you know, I preferred it back then. I preferred the early stuff, and you know, oh, they're not as good as they were. No, they are. You just don't like it because you're too attached to the past, I think.
Well, there may be other reasons why people don't like it. It might be generally just because they don't like it. I mean, if you're using U2 as a general stick, going with that, because we've already said that I prefer the 90s stuff, which I really do. For me, that's the 12-star rated U2 for me. You know, Acton Baby, Zooroper, and Pop are just the icons. They never come close to that. They didn't before and they didn't afterwards. But that's purely my taste. If I say I don't like U2 now, it's not because I think they've lost it or because I've got rose-tinted glasses for Acton Baby. It's because I just don't like that song, that album, or whatever. No, which is the same. You know, I think I liked Elevator. That was the last U2 song post-pop that I actually kind of got on with. I think it just didn't land with me. It didn't resonate. It didn't mean anything. It didn't get me singing along to the tunes. You know, I still enjoy U2. I still think they're a great band. I just didn't like stuff they did after pop so much until they did these recent EPs. And even then, I still prefer Days of Ash to, was it Days of Lily or something? Easter Lily?
Yeah. No, and I think that's fair enough. And I suppose I'm referring
generalising,
more to...
maybe.
Yeah, I'm generalising. I think more to people who are, like, you know, I like all of U2, and I'm, you know, would say I am a fan of all of it, whereas you like them, but you like a specific, you know, time period. Whereas
I do, and I also like individual songs as well, like, you know, a couple of things.
But you know what I mean.
And Hum, a few things off.
We like Doctor Who, but
yes,
I do
back on topic. Well
think people get, you know, I think too much nostalgia is not a good thing, and I've discussed on the podcast before, but I have my worries about, you know, Avengers Doomsday. There's a massive reliance on the past and nostalgia on there.
Yeah.
You know, I hope
some of the clips I've seen of that look pretty good, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will be, and I'll end up saying I was wrong, and I hope so. But you know, I'm just pissed
I was
that
wrong.
they appear to be wasting Florence Pugh. But I think with Who, there's just it's almost, in my perception of it, and I could be wrong, but this is how I see it. It's too much, you know, Tennant, Piper, RTD, and it's sort of morphing into just that as the sort of public thing for the show. The other stuff is being slightly sidelined. And if the rumours are true that they're both back at Christmas, I just, you already had him back.
Well, we know Billie Piper's back, don't we? She has to be, because
yes, but
otherwise that cliffhanger means nothing.
Well, it doesn't mean anything
it
anyway, does it?
Anyway. Exactly.
It's so...
Yeah.
I almost can't express how awful I thought that was. It's one thing to bring Tennant back as 14 and have Jodie return in Shooty's Spear and da-da-da, but you maybe just about got away with having a past actor play the Doctor again.
Past Doctor play a new Doctor.
Yeah, but now having a past companion playing the Doctor, it's just awful, and I can't bear the way Russell is like, oh, it's a hoot, and
a hoot.
people are like, oh yeah, it's just a bit of a laugh. Well, it's not.
If you don't enjoy it, it's because you're too stuck up in your own ways, and you're not having fun, or something. But, you're not down with it.
Yeah, but people throw around.
Ben Cook will have a go at you basically for being a twat, in his opinion.
Well, people throw around the bad writing thing and stuff, but that is shit. And as was...
Apologies for the use of our rather purple language on this episode of the podcast. Normal service will be resumed shortly. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sorry, I just felt I had to put that in. Disclaimer.
As was... what was it called? The reality bomb or the reality war? Yeah. Absolute. And I mean...
Shambles, wasn't it?
I mean, was it
That's a leading question.
Was it worse than the legend of Ruby Sunday? Possibly, and that really is saying something.
I mean, that which one was that? The penultimate episode or the final episode of season 1? Actually, either way,
whichever one that had the mystical road sign appearing, and then going, "Oh my God, our name is."
It's all part of the same story, isn't it? It's sort of two-part finale, and
it could have been
least,
so good.
I think what that episode had, the end of series 1, it at least had an emotional weight to it. I think we remarked at the time. I thought actually that was the best part of that entire story. However,
it was. Yeah,
it was pure EastEnders / Coronation Street / Emmerdale / whatever. It was you could lift all of those lines when Ruby met up with her natural mum and stick him in any soap opera, and he wouldn't be out of place. So then, what's the point of Doctor Who? Almost, if that's the case. Is it all the other stuff that came before it, all the fantastical nonsense that actually, when you look at it, made, to me, very little sense at all?
Well, I think that's why, the essentially the RTD stuff is so popular. It's because of the soap opera element, because it's that kind of stuff, and it's perhaps relatable on a sort of larger scale.
I think that's what made it popular, wasn't it? That's what made it kind of resonate with a wider audience back in 2005.
Yeah. But the stuff in Legend of Ruby Sunday with the pointing at the road sign that appears, and the mum in the hood, and we know she's supposed to be called Ruby. I mean, it literally didn't make sense. They say that the Chibnall was badly written. I mean,
it kind of made sense on a surface level. It just didn't make any sense if you actually dig any deeper than that.
But also that the mum was pointing, and the sign just appeared, but nobody had seen her doing that in the footage, and then how would they actually have known she's pointing at a sign that says Ruby Road? I mean, it's just garbage.
Come on, it's a hoot.
Yeah, the hoot is the get all.
You're not having fun. I demand you have fun.
Yeah. So I feel I don't know, the Christmas thing. Also, what are we now? May. It is quite strange that there's not been any further announcements about it, because surely it's going to start filming soon.
It must be. It's usually summertime, isn't it? When they
I saw someone saying it would be September. And they'd get it ready. I mean, that is possible, but it does seem like a push. But yeah, I'm afraid my excitement for it is minimal, because I think if it had been anything else and they turned into Shooty turned into a new actor, I'd have thought, oh, okay, there's another new start coming. Let's see how this is, but it's not. It's Billy, and I just think it's just really dumb.
You see, now weirdly, I disliked series 2 more than you did, I think, and I actually disliked it more than series 1. But again, it's just because I don't think any of the stories really landed. I think I enjoyed the well.
Strange
that's about it. But regardless, I'm still looking forward to the Christmas special. I'm still looking forward to finding out who Billy Piper's playing. It might turn out to be a complete disappointment, but at the moment it isn't. It's still something anticipated. So I'm quite cool with that,
Well, that's good. I'm pleased. I mean, I don't.
Good. I'm pleased for you.
Yeah. No, but that is good.
Good for you.
I mean, there's obviously there's no plan behind it. So saying things like, I'm not saying this is you specifically. Oh, well, I can't, look forward to finding out who Billy's meant to be, and I wonder, what the untold story is here. There's no untold story. He's just made it up and gone shit.
But you don't know that for sure, though, do you?
Oh, come on. Let's...
No. Look, I'm just putting it out there, right? Okay.
Course,
there's a way you can look at these things, which is where your cognitive bias tells you that it's just going to be a pile of cack, right? And okay, you've got some evidence because you didn't like much of the previous stuff that Russell wrote.
I'm basing it on the fact that, and you are right to an extent. Yes, okay, I should. I will say, I will of course watch it. And I hope I might come away thinking, well, I was not expecting any of that to happen. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. They have defied my expectations and delivered a cracker. But it's quite clear that Shooty wasn't supposed to leave. They had to redo a whole load of stuff. And Russell has found himself in a hole, and he's phoned up Billy and gone, do you want to do me a massive favour? and she's gone, yeah, all right, be a hoot. And now they've actually got to pay it off, which I...
But isn't that a challenge in a way of story writing? If you think maybe you could apply that to the end of the series where Donna Noble came into before The Runaway Bride. I mean, maybe there was more of a plan there than this one. Maybe they planned The Runaway Bride.
Well,
but that cliffhanger came so out of the blue when she just appeared in the TARDIS at the end of that series that it was like, what the blazes? And sometimes, as a writer, you can set yourself up with the most unexpected thing by way of I'm sure they used to do it back in the days of Hollywood serials in the 1930s and 40s. Just write serialized movies, half an hour each, whatever, and just write a cliffhanger that they at the time had no idea how they were going to get out of.
Oh, yeah.
But they had to resolve it the next way because it gets bums on seats. Is it not the same kind of mentality for this? Whether there was a plan or not, does it really matter? The fact is, it's a cliffhanger and we want to see it resolved. Well, you don't, obviously, but...
Well, no, you're right. It would have been exciting if it had been any other actor than a previous.
But would it have? Okay, I get that, but would it have meant anything if it was any other actor? The fact it's Billie Piper, and we know her history with the series, we know the role she played. Does that not give it an added kind of weight of expectation or kind of frizz-on of excitement?
No, I think it's literal nonsense. I actually really dislike it.
We're in trouble here, ladies and gentlemen. That's
really unusual for me to feel that way. I actually dislike it enormously because it's quite clearly there was no plan, there was no forethinking behind it in any attempt to say, "Oh, we're going to discover what Russell's plan is." Russell didn't even have a plan when he wrote it. He's just making it up as he goes along.
He's just making it up as he goes along.
And you're right about the Runaway Bride, for example, may well have been. Like Catherine Tate, we've got this idea, you're going to turn up in the TARDIS. I don't really know what the story is going to be yet, but this is the plan. Do you know what I mean? This is the plan. Whereas, here, Billy, come in and do this. There's just something about it that's different. It's not being thought through in any way. And I think the fact that it's Billy is what is doing that. I'm thinking about Alias, the show. Alias, great show. And they used to have so many cliffhangers,
They
so
did.
many good
It was
cliffhangers.
J.J. Abrams,
And,
wasn't it? The master
yeah,
of cliffhangers that
he's
remained
done
unresolved.
exactly like you were saying. He'd come up with a great cliffhanger to get you to watch again, to get you to watch again. And there was only so much you can kind of get away with that without
I
the kind
felt
of
that
character
watching
stuff.
Lost, actually. I think
Yeah,
Lost
see, Lost
more so than Alias.
and Lost had no, because it was trying to create such a big myth. It didn't have any real idea where it was
I
going.
think it kind of reeled out the rope that it hung itself with over the
Yes.
course of many series. The reason I say about the Runaway Bride, because this is the other thing actually, is that, okay, so it was at the end of series 2, wasn't it? It was at the end of Doomsday.
Yeah.
Doomsday had a very epic, very emotionally powerful ending. That separation between Rose and the Doctor,
superb.
they're separated by universe. They cannot ever get back together. And it left loads of people, including you, in tears. And whilst I didn't quite resonate with that, I think, I enjoyed it. I just maybe didn't blood my eyes out into a bowl of Rice Krispies or something. But nonetheless, for me, sort of watching that, and then the Doctor kind of wanders back into the TARDIS, kind of forlorn and a bit, sort of beside himself. And then suddenly Catherine Tate appears in a wedding dress, and it's like, you what? You what? 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 It's like, well, that for me just undermined all the emotional weight of everything that had been set up previous to it. And
Well, it's a
I
bit
think,
like-
in this way, with having Billy Piper, I mean, actually, no, I think it's slightly different now. I think actually this also is it's kind of similar to what happened for me at the end of Power of the Doctor, because that was such a powerful episode, and the emotional weight towards the end of that actually did crack my stone heart in two. I was, every time I watch it, I'm a blubbing wreck. And then to have David Tennant kind of appear at the end of the TARDIS, and then
No,
it's
she regenerates on the cliff, but then this
oh
is the
dear
end.
God, you try to have a discussion, but I do wonder why I bother sometimes.
But you're right, and it's a little bit like
It's kind of making a good moment frivolous, or undermining a really powerful moment with frivolity for the sake of it, for the sake of a cliffhanger, for the sake of a new plan, or for the sake of no plan, for the sake of just to get people watching.
The Titanic crashing through the side of the TARDIS. Oh wow, what a moment. And, but it's undermined the Martha leaving and stuff. But again, I kind of,
yeah.
I get it. We need to
It's
put
kind of
people in.
It's kind of a trademark of Russell T Davies's writing, isn't it? To have those ridiculous left-hand kind of spins in, curveballs. That's the word I was looking for.
I was going to say, and Alias did that in its, I mentioned this before, I think, but in its second series, all going along, and then it starts to sort of get to the point where it should wrap things up, and then it jumps like 2 years, I think it is. And
that's right. Yeah, she's lost the memory of something.
She's lost her memory and stuff, and it kind of blows a whole load of stuff open. And it was really good because it like changed the dynamic of the show so much.
Temporarily, I think.
Yeah,
because she very quickly got her memory back, and things kind of went back to.
I got a comment on all that in a minute, and I remember thinking that is really cool. He's completely upended the show, but I could also picture him sitting at his computer going, "Like, I've only got 3 pages left, and I can't finish all of this."
Exactly.
Cut to black 2 years later. And Alias was always really good fun. I really liked Jennifer Garner and
I don't think I ever watched all of it. Actually, it's on
Disney
one of the
now,
Disney things now, isn't it? Yeah, I'm trying to get Frey to watch it, but she's not.
What it ended up sort of doing was no, just talking general terms, but it, Sloane was bad, then he was good, then he was bad, then he, and it just sort of, it was almost like a reset, right, he's bad, he's getting redeemed, now he's good, oh, now something's happened, he's gone back to being bad, he's redeemed, he's good, and it just sort of, I always really enjoyed it, but, I remember there was one series, maybe 4, and I was thinking, oh God, they're going to do this twist with it, and this is going to be massive, and then they didn't do it the way I thought they were going to do, and so it was. I loved it, really a great show, but it did sort of slightly get stuck in this thing of can't have Sloane leave, can't have him be good, or it just sort of looped itself,
So go on. I'm going to say something here, but go on.
It's good that you're looking forward to Christmas, and I think I would feel very differently if it had been a different actor, if there wasn't so much Tennant hyper
That's the thing that's really killing you. I kind of feel, and I do get that. I was going to say about Alias, because so I think it's quite interesting that you brought that up in that way, because it does have those things, and Lost has a lot of those things as well. They're both written by or produced by JJ and written by slightly different people, I think. But they're all around the same sort of time, aren't they? So they're early 2000s, right? So Alias is what, 2003 or I don't know, looks or something.
Yeah, maybe
Lost
even a bit
is
before that.
2000. I think that started 2004 or 2005. First series of Lost. Either way, what both of those shows did was kind of they kind of established a really popular template for TV, for serialized TV, that got people watching week after week after week, which in an expanding world, in expanding networks of and saturation of media across all different, a multiplication of channels globally, that kind of loyalty to a show was really was becoming increasingly difficult to attain and keep hold of. And I think Russell T Davies knew that. I remember all the interviews that he was doing around about the same sort of time, they're saying, look, he's looking at Buffy, he's looking at Smallville, all of these things. And he would have been aware of Alias and maybe to a degree of Lost as well. All of that stuff, became that template. I think he intentionally applied that same kind of serialized storytelling with big cliffhangers, massive curveball endings into Doctor Who. And it worked back then because I think we were, as viewers, probably more receptive to it. Perhaps it was more kind of mainstream. Now I think a lot more TV shows have relied less on unexpected cliffhangers and more on actually quite multi-layered narratives, really deep level storytelling, which we started to see with things like 6 Feet Under and The Sopranos, which are also back at back in those days, but maybe less popular with a capital P, sort of mass media kind of popular. But now, of course, things like Game of Thrones, which have exactly that. They don't rely on cliffhangers. There's an element of that for sure, but it's not. The series episodes aren't written to reach a cliffhanger. They're there to further character, further the action, the narrative, the multi-layered threads, all the intertwining stories that create this glorious, deep tapestry. And I think Doctor Who had started to maybe look into that. With the Chris Chibnall Jodie era, whether you love it or hate it, there are lots of story threads going on. There's a lot of character development going up and down throughout the different series. A lot of relationship changes. There's a lot of, there's maybe less sci-fi and actually more of that kind of stuff in it. But I think what happened as soon as Russell T Davies got back in, we suddenly set the clock back to 2005 or 6 or 7 or whatever. And it's almost like, here's this template with all these cliffhangers and slightly sensationalist kind of storytelling, and we're just going to whack it straight in on top of this. And for me, it was such a kind of disconnect from the end of series, from the end of sort of Flux and Power of the Doctor into this, and it was like, wow, okay, wow,
it was a step backwards in many ways.
It feels more dilute in comparison to what we'd had previously, I think.
Because I think you're right. A vast number of shows these days are 6-8 episodes, one massive story, spread out across it. It's a lot deeper, a lot more layered. And then there's still things like 911 or
is that still going?
Yeah, I mean 911 is I really enjoy that. It's quite a light entertainment show, and it does have kind of character threads and sort of plot things that go through it all, but you can watch one episode, miss 3 of them, and not, you're not sort of massively behind on it.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just nice viewing. It's like Bones or Castle, stuff like that. And they're, people these days often say, we used to get 22 episode series back in the day, and now we get 6 or 8. Well, the structure of it is different. The output on streaming is different. Dumping it all at once, and the money involved is different. These shows now are essentially film level.
Exactly.
They're not. I was singing about Bones. It was almost all. Well, not all of it, but they had the main big lab set that they used, and that was, a bit like Buffy's library or Alias's underground
there's
lair.
always a hub, isn't there? Like a main set that things sort of, and you can tell when they reach the episode where there's no money because everything happens in that one set.
There, yeah.
There's at least 2 episodes in a 22 episode series in which all that happens.
A great example of that was Spin the Bottle in Angel, where they literally did a spin the bottle thing, and everyone's personalities got changed and stuff. And like Angel reverted to a 17-year-old Irish boy, and he was scared, and he ran outside and got scared by the metal demons, which were the cars, because he didn't know what they were. But with I do think quite a bit of the this serialized stuff these days is so slow moving. I started watching Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen on Netflix,
right?
And I managed about 3 or 4 episodes, and I realised there was like 8 to it, and I was like, Christ, at this pace, it's just not doing enough for me. And which is, I thought if this had been 6. And they'd slightly sped it up a little bit, I'd have probably been like, yeah, this is really going along, because it did draw me in. Yeah. But then I do want characters and I do want layers and stuff, but it also has to, there's got to be some pace to it, and I hate, the pacing's wrong, because people just use that like they know what they're talking about. But,
But in this case, you think it is wrong.
It needed some stuff to happen a bit more frequently, and so it was
not
weird.
Like slow burn.
Well, I don't mind it, but it's got to do something. I can't.
Maybe it does. Maybe the payoff. Maybe you just didn't reach that far.
Well, I did hear that. I did read that the end was quite, something on it. But 3 or 4 episodes in, and I'd been quite hooked. I was like, yeah, this is going along nicely, and then it slowed right down, and I was like, it's a bit like when Walking Dead would have an episode with one of the encampments, and it wouldn't feature Rick or Daryl or anyone for an episode, and then they do it again the next week, and I used to think, I'll be honest, nobody cares about these other camps.
On a little bit,
Do like Game of Thrones did, a little bit of Daenerys, a little bit of Pedro Pascal, flick between them. You can't keep your sort of core heroes off screen for two episodes at a time.
Do you know, it reminds me of from what you're saying there of Andor, which I love, by the way, but I didn't love it initially. It took me a few goes to kind of get it, purely for that reason. I watched, because I think when they released it, they released 3 episodes,
right,
first off in one big chunk, and then you had to wait a week for the next one. But I'm not going to lie, I struggled through those first 3 episodes, and I didn't go back to it until the whole thing had completely, was fully on Disney. And even then, it was sort of reading people's kind of thoughts about it online. Some people saying, "Oh, you've got to stick with it." Others saying, "Oh, I couldn't watch it; it was enough," And because it was like, on the one hand, I loved it because I'm a big Star Wars fan anyway, so I love being in that universe. But it did seem like all the joy had kind of been sucked out of it, and nothing much was really happening at first. And yet here we are at a crucial point of the kind of formation of the Rebel Alliance, which is crucial in Star Wars kind of lore. And here's how the guy who was in Rogue One, who's a guy we'd never met before and weren't going to meet afterwards because he dies in it. And here we got a whole series about him. Well, I don't know about him. I don't really care about him. I don't know this guy yet. So it was tough, but I did watch it. I watched it again, and I stuck with it through those first couple of episodes. And then it was still another few slower moving, but I could see how things were starting to build, and it was like a really slow burn, and things that were layered down really, really deep, like sediment in this building kind of layer of the cauldron of story layers, and they were starting to bubble up, and I just thought when they do really in the second series, they really just explode outwards in something which is just quite incredible. But you've got to stick through the slow burn. But the payoff doesn't really happen unless you do somehow get involved in that slow burn phase, And I think, I agree. I do like a bit of pace to my TV watching. And I think audiences now probably need that more. I think if you're going to hit a general, mainstream audience and you just want numbers, that's what you have to do. If you want to have some kind of art to your story, maybe you go along the more
and I think that's
complex route.
with Andor, they've done something sort of relatively different within Star Wars there.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's kind of Star Wars for adults, whereas Star Wars has always been for kids, really.
yeah, and you could say Grogu and Mando is for a slightly different one. That's the only one I watch. I mean, I quite like to go see the film. I couldn't really care less about any of the other stuff, But I think
Yeah.
And again, you could say like Thunderbolts, from Marvel, it was a very different, film, and it wasn't as sort of big as some of the others, but Marvel with the comics, you'd have a horror series, a sci-fi series, a war series. It was always trying to aim to different interests. Some people would do it all, some people wouldn't. She-Hulk, it's not intended for the average, the vast majority of Marvel fans, perhaps. It's something slightly different, and I think it's good that things can try and push, but it's got to be good. It's like I watched...
But then that's a subjective response, isn't it?
Well, it is subjective. That's true.
Because we know there are people out there who have enjoyed Shooty's series 1 and 2.
Yeah, there are.
And are really, really looking forward to the return of Billy. Probably a whole bunch of people who are looking forward to the potential return of David Tennant again.
Oh, there will be, yeah, because that's what the show is now.
Maybe the Christmas episode is Russell T Davies' last hurrah. His last hoot before he, swans off and does some other projects. And then we're waiting for some other showrunner to kind of pop in and take things in a new direction.
Maybe. I mean, unless I think, they will give an answer on things. And people say, they should tell us what's going on. But they're not obligated to tell us anything at any point. They'll do it when they're ready. It's like people thinking that, we were going to get full Doomsday trailers, a year out from the film's release.
We're still talking about Marvel.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I watched some of Daredevil, and Daredevil's never really been a sort of massively favourite character of mine. But I watched because it was a Marvel show, and I heard it was good, and I liked Charlie Cox and and it was good. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of the characters. It just didn't kind of grab me enough. And then I've seen people saying at the end, they talk about having a team up, and they thought they were expecting Spider-Man to turn up because him and Daredevil have some relationship in the comics. And I just thought, you can't be serious that you thought Spider-Man was going to turn up on a Disney Plus show. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. There's a whole rights thing with Spider-Man anyway.
Based on the rights alone, it's not going to happen. But they're not going to have not had Spidey on screen for 4 years and go, he's in Daredevil. It's just... And that's
they
when
had Kingpin?
Yeah.
Kingpin came into the MCU first, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was the same guy who played him in the Daredevil series.
So they've sort of... taken the Netflix, stuff and mashed it in because they brought Jessica Jones back and stuff. And I think that's great that these guys are getting to come back and do it again. And there's fans of those shows on Netflix, and they're getting them back again. But it's there are literal reasons why these things don't happen, and
or even why they do,
and why people. Headcanon it. We're definitely going to get Spidey at the end. Definitely going to see the Thunderbolts because it happens the same time as the Thunderbolts film. It's just there's so many reasons why it's not going to happen. Christmas. Yeah, I'm holding out hope. We'll see.
You're going to watch it anyway, aren't you?
Oh, of course I will. Yeah,
and we'll do a podcast on it as well.
Yes, we will. And hopefully by then we might know if the recent rumours of another co-partner are true, or what's happening with it in general. But before then, so we got how many was 7? 7 more 13th Doctor audios. The Ninth Doctor series is still running.
There's Doctor series as well.
More,
loving those.
6E, Circuit Breaker, which we're hoping to cover on the show as well. So
there's going to be a lot of Circuit Breaker, isn't it? I mean, that literally. I was counting the sort of tree of stories and across all the different platforms. There's a lot to it. The only thing that worries me about that is, do they really expect every Doctor Who fan to invest in all of that?
I don't
Are we going to
so.
miss something if there's a platform that we... I don't know, if you don't subscribe to Doctor Who magazine, you're going to miss the story there, or whatever.
No, it will be each part is an individual story, and there'll probably be little bits within them that perhaps tie into the overall picture. which is a bit like they did with
Time Lord Victorious.
Well, yeah, Time Lord Victorious was a whole load of stuff, and only the core 2 books were really needed to get the main story, and a bit like with 3 of the 12th Doctor books, it was the Glamour Chronicles or something, and they were 3 books, and if you read them in like BAC order, you got the kind of overall gist of the sort of mystery plot to it.
Right.
But if you only read one of them, it didn't matter, so maybe Circuit Breaker will be a bit like that, and I think it should be. I'll just get the Big Finish audio, and that'll be great fun, and it might make me go, oh, perhaps I should read the book, or vice versa.
Jakimi Pearson's writing a book, isn't she?
Yeah, one of them with Joe Martin, I think. Yeah. And there certainly seems to be less than they did on Time Lord Victorious. And I highly doubt that it will be you have to read each piece to get the overall story, because that's mad. That's mad. And they did do another one, didn't they? Another multimedia thing that
Doomsday.
No, that's the Marvel film.
No, Doomsday.
No, that was the Series 2 finale.
You're so funny, Jeff. You know what? It's 11 o'clock at Saturday night and he's still cracking jokes.
Did anyone listen to Doomsday?
I don't know, but some people did, I'm sure, and I'm sure some people enjoyed it. I didn't, so I have no opinion on it. I have
to admit I didn't listen, but I was.
Sometimes you've got to try these things, and sometimes going to land, sometimes they're not. What really gets my goat up is when people start throwing harpoons at this stuff before anyone's had a chance to listen to it, before they've, I guess we all do it to some degree. We all form an opinion before seeing a thing. But it's based on nothing other than what you fear or what you think is going to happen.
Yeah,
if you're going to slag something off, at least listen to it, read it, watch it, whatever first, and then your opinion might have some validation.
That's fair. I think for me, I was like, as it came out before Shooty stuff started, and I remember thinking, this is really weird to sort of kick off RTD's new tenure with this. With a character we've never seen before that looks a bit lame. Like, she was supposed to be like the galaxy's most fearsome bounty hunter, but was actually sort of making jokes and stuff. And I was like, I don't really get it.
She's a comedian, isn't she?
Well, exactly. And so,
So, tonally
jarring.
Jarring, yes, good one. Yeah, I'll go with that.
So before we go, we've had a couple of questions coming, haven't we?
We have, and we would like a few more questions actually, because we want to do an episode where we have a lot more questions to answer from you, our lovely listeners. Because in the absence of any real Doctor Who at the moment, we are looking for content.
when Al comes on, you inundate us with questions. Are we not interesting enough for you? Are we not?
That's break my heart. Right, anyway, let's listen to this first question, which is from William. So here let's press that button. Here we go. Here's William.
So my question is, what's your opinion on kind of the Jodie Whittaker era? I was watching some the other day, specifically the one about the spiders and the arachnids, and it was really good. I don't remember it being that good when it first came out. I don't know if I was just being ignorant in that way, I guess. But looking back on it now, I think we had some brilliant Doctor Who episodes, and I mean, Jodie Whittaker's a great Doctor. Just want to know what your thoughts on that are.
So there's a loaded question. What's your thoughts on the Jodie Whittaker era of the Doctor?
Well,
and Jodie's Doctor.
William sent us in that SpeakPipe message, and when the email came in, I didn't recognise the email address or anything, so I'm not sure who that William is. If William, if you're listening and you're new to us, and you are a 13th Doctor fan just rediscovering the era, I think you might have found the podcast for
Indeed.
you. If you haven't dug into the back catalogue, go and have a look. And also what we've talked about at the beginning of this episode might well answer that for you. But that makes me happy to hear someone going back and rewatching it and actually, perhaps without that haze of the perception at the time and the loud voices and things like that, and then to go back and say, actually, this was really quite good. That's brilliant. And maybe in time that will happen for you and me with shooting. You can't beat the peak, the pinnacle. It's Jodie, but
But isn't that a thing of nostalgia as well, though? Because you're remembering a time when there was an era of Doctor Who that you really resonated with, and it will never be like that again. And there's a kind of sadness that you carry forward.
How dare you throw my nostalgia claim back at me?
That's what nostalgia is. It's literally a description of pain, the pain for a past moment that will never be there
You're right.
again.
I am self-admitted I haven't moved on. And that no doubt did.
So you're nostalgic for the Jodie Whittaker era, basically.
My shooty view, and it being awful didn't help that.
But didn't you say nostalgia's bad for Doctor Who? And yet,
yeah, I think. Or
does a different law apply to you, Mr. Jeff?
Well, of course it does, yeah.
Of course it does.
No, I think mining it to the extent that it's been done, and I think I said I've got concerns about Doomsday doing it. I mean, like, really, why is Steve Rogers back as the lead?
And you're a big Marvel fan.
Yeah, I am.
So you're even concerned about that. So
yeah, I don't like it. I think I like to keep moving forward.
I agree.
And looking back and having a bit, like to say, I'm not saying we shouldn't have the Ice Warriors come back again, but we don't need them back every single series,
every time.
So
yeah. Good question. Thank you, Wimble.
In moderation, yeah.
Wimble? William. His name is William Trimble. I've got it written down in front of me there, so I've just compressed it into Wimble. Sorry about that. Thanks for the question.
He might pick up that nickname. Yeah.
Send us more of those as well, actually. And as Jeff said, if you do enjoy Jodie Whittaker, we're big fans of Jodie Whittaker. Pretty big fans of all Doctor Who, really, but that one,
we are really. That's true.
Of the modern era, of the modern series, I think, certainly for me, it kind of hit a peak. I think for you also, well, definitely hit a peak for you, that's for sure.
Well, literally just said.
Hear from The Future is for Everyone.
This is Lee, that's his real name.
So, here we go, let's have a listen to this. It's going to play.
Hi, Jeff.
Yes.
Hi, Paul. All right, here's my question. Have you guys thought about doing New Year specials with your original Who audios?
Ooh.
One of the things I loved about the Chibnall run is not only did it give a break from all the Christmas specials, but he really used it to do something special with the Daleks. And maybe that's something that could be featured on Who Corner to Corner. Ooh. As doing either an original foe that's revisited in New Year's specials or a classic one that you might be interested in. Maybe even a classic foe or threat that no one's really looking for, but it would give you guys a lot of latitude to have fun with it. So that is my question. Have you thought about doing something like this? Oh, and let me throw in another idea.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys thought about doing like a live reading of one of your scripts or scripts from your contributors, and all of you get on screen and just read it as live, maybe with no preparation where the actors would see nothing, or maybe with practice. So that's my suggestion, and thank you for accepting my question.
Oh, wow.
Have a good one.
You too, Future. Thank you for sending that one in. Oh, that's a good question. And I just have to say, actually, Future has the best voice on anything. So
I'm thinking,
please send us more.
we need to get. I'm pretty sure it is Lee. His name. We need to get Lee on, but maybe Lee might want to do a little voice for an original audio drama. That's two very good. Those are not questions; those are challenges.
Those are challenges.
I believe.
Yeah. So a New Year special. I mean, that's not out of the ballpark so much, is it? Because we've done Christmas specials, we've done Halloween, we've done. What else have we done? Halloween.
What was Katie's one recently?
Done Bonfires
was that supposed to be New Year? That we
it was a Christmas one, but we put it out in Easter, so it's an Easter one.
yeah. Sorry, Katie. We did get there in the end. Lee mentioned a New Year thing with a returning foe. Is he suggesting the Christmas elves came back to cause more havoc?
Little Christmas elves. Oh,
for my audio. Or another show or creature.
I'd be quite interested in doing. Well, I mean, between you and me, listeners, between the three of us, right? The three of us. I look at all you listeners as one homogeneous whole. Because we have talked about Cybermen. We have talked about a Cybermen story, haven't we? We kind of plotted one out. You had a good idea, kind of fleshed it out a little bit, and there's something to do there, possibly.
There is. If you listen to the end, or listen to all of TARDIS of Terror, in the last couple of bits, there's a little something going on in the background.
It's nicely done. See, that's how you do a subtle kind of tease, Jeff. I love the way you did that. Because to be fair, I only did the Cyberman for a laugh, the voice, when you asked me to do that. And because I think I gave you about half a dozen different voices of a newsreader. And it was only in the end I thought, I'll just do it as a Cyberman for fun. And I didn't realise that was actually what you wanted. So it's like...
so I had a bit of an idea, and then we talked about it, and then we weren't sure about it. And then I say, I'll think about it. And then didn't you send me a...
I had a sudden brain fart, and I gave you a synopsis for what I thought was
it's really
cool
good
story.
Yeah, and I thought, yes, that's very good.
There's no need to be quite so polite about it, you know. We'll do something else. It's fine. But I mean,
I read it, and I think the thing is, you sent me
like
things.
It. I thought you'd been
no, I
sarcastic.
really did. No, I wasn't being sarcastic. You sent it to me, and I read it, and I thought, God damn it, that's working. And I didn't have to think hard about it. Just you came up with the idea.
It's. I think it could work. I think
it will work.
Tight little story.
And we've also got
do that one.
Another script that's really just a
recording
a
on
small...
Monday. First part of recording.
Is that for yours? Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about my one on the bench.
I blagged my talent.
Did you? Well,
yeah.
You kept that quiet.
Well, I didn't really. I just didn't loop you into it because I thought you were doing other stuff. So,
I'm waiting for my friend Tim to send me some notes on the script. I thought you were going to as well.
I did, didn't I? Didn't I send you some?
I don't remember.
Because I remember writing them. Didn't I? Oh, sorry.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, no one needs to hear this discussion.
I'll send them to you.
But the thought of doing a live audio drama, I mean, it would have to be very limited kind of production in terms of sound and stuff like that. But you could preload some stuff.
You could do, because we can preload stuff on here.
Yeah.
And I think what we would need is a producer, a third party, to kind of read the script and have the cues, I think.
Or I do that.
Or you do
act.
it. Something to think about, isn't it? That's a good one.
We had talked, and we need to get our act together on it, but doing a live streamed watch along with Aldua, where obviously we wouldn't have the episode playing on screen with us, but you could all tune in. We all hit play at the same time, and then we can comment and chat. So we need to sort that out. A live audio play.
I think that's got to be a go. We just need a little,
definitely
10-15 minute script. Nice tight little story.
I bet Katie would love that. Yeah, all right. There's a cliffhanger for you. That's how you do it.
There's a cliffhanger. And we got Jeff smiling at the end of the episode as well. So my work is done, frankly. And thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to Futurists for everyone. Thank you to William Trimble for sending us a voice note. Hey, listen, look, if you want to get your voice on here, just send us a voice note. It's at speakpipe.com/whoc2c or something like that. But check out our socials because we keep putting the link in there. And it's great. I love it because it's really nice to hear the voice of our listeners on the show, because otherwise it just gets a bit boring with just me and Jeff talking all the time, basically. So it's really, really lovely to have other people sort of send us in their voice, and especially if you've got a really good voice. So, you know, get it heard, get it on here. So that was fun, and we cheered Jeff up, so I'm very pleased with that. We shall see what happens at Christmas time.
Yes.
And, of course, we're going to do a podcast on it, but as you said, Jeff, there's a lot of other things to look at between now and then. So we will be back with another episode. Weekly episodes. God, they've been weekly for 4.5 years now. You realise that? We've never missed a week, and that's quite an achievement, I think. So thank
That
you
is
to all
quite
our
an
listeners
achievement,
for listening. Thanks to our watchers
Yeah.
for watching. We will see you on the next episode of Who Corner's
See you
Corner.
next time.
See you
Bye.
then. Bye for now. And scene.